So what do I need to talk about today? Well, let's make it simple. Obviously, the intrusion method is not working. So I'm going to do something a little different. Obviously, I'm going to make things a little easy for everybody. No, not really. No, I'm going to... Because the obvious intrusion method is going to be this. There is no things, really. I'm just going to base it off of this. It's corporeal, really, but I want to bring up one basic aspect that's pretty real to most. I think most people have heard of Fight Club, read Fight Club, saw Fight Club, maybe. And in its basic axis, there could be a sickness involved. A sick feeling of deja vu and sickness from it. Or, as my point of view, I've read the book, all of it. I've watched the movie twice fully, and I can't watch it fully any other times now. And this is a little aspect, there's a big contradiction in it. And that's why I want to bring this up, because this is a big contradiction that kind of speaks for a lot of things. One of the biggest quotes in the book and the movie, to me, and is the part where I completely stopped the movie 8 minutes and 40 seconds of the film, is, strangers with this kind of honesty make me go a big rubbery one. Now why does that bring up any point? What does that even mean? Strangers with this kind of honesty make me go a big rubbery one. The biggest turn down in historical pretense has taken place. Putting down emotionally open people. That's it. The basic aspect. The turner of the controller. I mean, that's it. Chuck Plankton has written this and said that the only way to change things is the interface between fighting and having fight clubs. But the main problem is that you're basically putting down emotionally open people and becoming fake. So, Tyler Durden's big speech on don't pick Martha Stewart products, don't pick all this shit, don't be a consumer, but be fake around people who are emotionally open. Oh, well then you are a consumer at that point. You are the consumerating consumer, meaning everybody else will become with your vibes and take them into consideration and say, you know, I'm going to be fake too. So instead of getting the products, you are the product. You are the product of being fake and not accepting emotionally open people with real emotions, human emotions. Bear that in mind, because this is what it is. The fact of the matter is you cannot take away human emotions completely, and you cannot take away the definition. You can change the definition all you want, like martyrdom, for example, which is put down with a snail face. I mean, literally, every time anybody says martyr, it's like someone's cussing. That's no lie. It's like, it's worse than a cuss word, because whenever I hear somebody say it, they have a frown on their face, like they've just, you know, turned into the devil somehow. Yes, because martyrdom is such a horrible thing. Oh, you know, fighting for a cause, oh my god. Jeez, you know. It's like they have to fight for that cause too for some reason. You know, when they have that frown on their face, it's almost like they have to fight for that cause too. It's like, oh, why do people have to fight for anything here? Yeah, why don't they just fight each other and be closed and be, as the quote says, not emotionally open but fake? Become the product instead. Yes, of course, because you build yourself on your own ethics, don't you? And of course, building yourself on your own ethics and your definitions of everything that have been built for you. You didn't create your own definition for something. I have created a definition for everything. Everything that happens, everything that is, everything around me. I've created my own definition for them, not anybody else's into consideration. Because if we don't create our own definitions for something, we're not as creative and open as we think we are. We're liars. But then again, we can accept that at the point where we have the most stable view, which is the lesser two evils. Oh, yes, of course. Or, another favorite of mine, I vote the way my parents do. Oh, well, there you go. Why don't you just wear tape over your mouth, over your eyes, over your ears? You have no view. You have nothing to live for at that point. Why don't you just kill yourself at that point? I don't get it. Pretty much you have no will to live because you have no individual voice at that point. You're basically saying, I'll accept the two that are there, or I'll accept what my parents did. I'll make no initial thought to bring out anything for myself. Even if I did when I was a kid, when I asked why for everything. I'm not going to do that anymore. But as Sid, Fight Club. Going back to Fight Club for a reason. I mean, literally, it's a big contradiction right there. He says, you know, you gotta fight authority by fighting each other. Well, okay, there's a big problem with that. Because by fighting each other, just like in the film and the book, the authority fight you with guns, and they kill you. And then there's the contradiction of that. King. Because now, at this point, they say, well, you can't fight authority then. You gotta fight each other. Or he could use bombs and plant them in buildings and do that sort of thing. Oh, yes. But then people come to you with guns, too. Or you shoot yourself with a gun and you change completely, as with the main character. But see, the biggest contradiction right there isn't that violence shouldn't be taken. It's that violence should be taken more than emotional openness. As Sid, strangers with this kind of honesty make me go a big rubbery one. Which means you could take it in a sexual context. I take it in its literal context, which means that anybody who's emotionally open makes me want to be more fake. It makes me want to be a product. It doesn't make me want to be more emotionally open. It makes me want to be more of a product for the world. So instead of Tyler Durden's speech about, oh, don't buy this, instead be a product yourself. There you go. Solve a problem. So instead of buying the products, become the product. Be the product. Instead of being an individual, of course, with emotional openness and everything else, instead, define yourself as a product. Oh my God. Fight Club, what an enfranchising view. Oh, yes. Dance around that for a while. Instead, that's why I don't enjoy that anymore. And that's why I can only watch 8 minutes and 40 seconds, shut it off, and, you know. I get more accomplished by masturbating, to be honest. And I don't masturbate, how about that? Which means I get more accomplished by... There you go. You heard it first. But literally, the aspect of that. What a joke. I'm not putting down him as a writer, because he could be a good writer all he wants, but that's two big contradictions. Too much for me personally, and that's all I gotta say about that one. Because if you're writing, and you're basically saying, stop being emotionally open, you're not that good of a writer. You're basically saying you gotta change the definition of something. Not much of a writer if you have to change things like that. Because basically you're closing off one big part of writing. The emotional connection is pretty big because it's what makes you find your definitive character in your writing. And finds you able, when you write, to be able to keep on going without really thinking about it. That's your emotional involvement right there. If you're going to shut that off, you're basically making it a tool. And making it so much of a tool that there is no connection to it anymore. That it's not anything at that point. It won't make any connection. It's like a test tube that has no baby. Nothing is going to be born from it. And pretty much that's what Fight Club is. Pretty much that's what... I'm not saying all writers nowadays, because there are a lot of writers who are not like that at all. But many of them are like that, you know. And that's the aspect right there. Sorry, I just had to say that definitive character. I'm not putting him down as a writer, though. And you gotta remember that. Because if you think of it and flinch to it, then that's the identity right there. It's just like martyrdom. Goes back to that. Whenever you hear the word martyr, oh, you have that frown on your face, don't you? Yeah, I can see it. I can see that frown on your face because all of a sudden it bothers you. It encumbers your life. Hold it. You're not the martyr. Fuck you. You know, don't worry about it. If you don't like it, don't become part of it. It doesn't matter if you hear about it 24/7. Because at that point, you have to stage exactly how much involvement you want. Because if you're paying attention to something that's telling you about it, why don't you not pay attention to that? Oh, smart idea. But of course you have to, don't you? Well, I can see that, right? Oh yeah, because all of a sudden everything has to be involved, right? The old benefit of the doubt seeps in again. Like a stepping stool. I don't need the benefit of the doubt that much. At that point, you're forcing yourself into something. It's not about benefit of the doubt at that point. Because you're not giving anybody else benefit of the doubt, especially if that's how you feel about the word martyr. There's no benefit of the doubt with that, is there? You have that frown already. So you have no benefit of the doubt with that word. You just put it down right away. No strings attached. Well, then don't become a part of it. Don't think about it. Pay attention to something else. Pave your own road. Oh, wait, you're a product. I forgot. I forgot that you were a product. You're right. I forgot that what you believe is, I can be a product myself. I don't need to buy the products. Oh, okay. I apologize. But a product doesn't have any opinions. Do they? And if they do, they just make a commercial about it. Why don't you just make a commercial? Ah, yes, because you are not really a product. You don't have that kind of capability. Your only product is right in your home. That's all. And to work you go. Think about it. Products don't have that problem. They don't need to go to work. They're put to work, but somebody else does it. Such a cliche romance right there, isn't it, buddy? But of course, it's easier for you, of course, because, my God, you're just a product now at that point. There's only 3 things that are brought together within that. Well, authority can fight us with guns, so we'll fight them. And we'll fight everybody else too, because they're emotionally open. Oh, that's a bad thing to be. Oh my God. You know, the turn of the access panel. You know, we're breaking barriers every day, but we don't want to break that barrier and become emotionally connected to people. No, we got to be a product, and that's it. We have to make them fight their lines, which means we have to become the product to fight the products. Actually, you can become the product against the authority. You don't become the product against the emotionally open. In fact, you teach them differently. The one grunt doesn't make the other grunt. So you can't make a fighter out of being in a fight. Why didn't that happen to me? Oh wait, because I walked away and shocked the hell out of those people. Remember that? 8th grade. The biggest capacity of fighters isn't the ability to walk away completely, but it's the ability to stare sternly at the people that bounce back 1 or 2 steps and be able to see exactly where the emotion is in that moment and what exactly to do with that emotion. Not bottle it up. Walk away and straight line out of there and then never speak to them again. The closing door is so easy to make. And it shuts everybody out of your life, but it also shuts themselves out at that point. They become emotionally blocked, and they have no idea what the capacity means anymore to be emotional. So that's what happened to me in 8th grade. Very simple idea. Pushed down on the ground by some strange guy. Didn't know him. Looked, just kind of kept on staring at the cut, that came out from the cement. And I was like, that's strange. Because it was a pretty big gash. Kind of surprised. Because, I didn't really fall too hard. I felt like kind of, it's just that I slid. So, when you slide, you kind of have a bigger gash somehow. Well, I just stared at that for a while. I was kind of bent down because, obviously I fell down. So, kind of like, oh, what am I going to do here? Looked to my left. Saw 2 of my friends right there. Well, so-called. As the benefit of the doubt shows, they just walked a couple steps back. Oh, what kind of benefit of the doubt is that for me? No one defended me. Just like that benefit of the doubt does, it only defends the people that are agreeing. It doesn't defend the people that are not agreeing. Oh, so benefit of the doubt doesn't work, does it? No, because you have to be in agreement to have benefit of the doubt. You can't have disagreements. So if you have disagreements, you got to give the benefit of the doubt to the people that are in agreement. Fuck that. What? And so, got up, walked down, went to the doctor's office, said, excuse me, I got a little cut here. She asked what happened. I said, some guy pushed me back there. Then I just said, you know what? Honestly, I want to tell you right now, those friends are over with. They did not defend me at all. They didn't give me the benefit of the doubt at that point, and they knew me more. And if they knew him more, they pretty much gave him the benefit of the doubt. They're all in agreement with each other. Can I just stay here, please? Because I don't feel like going outside. And she said, that's fine. So I just stayed there the rest of the time. She was like, no problem. Just read my book. And that was pretty much it. Went to my class. Next day, I told my teachers, hey, can you put me away from this kid? He pretty much got in a fight with me yesterday. Kind of did a story. I just lied about it because, what are they going to do? And they said, okay, sure, I'll move you. So moved me, end of story, went through my classes, did my thing, and that was the end of it. Because that's the real shock. they had no iterations with me again. And it's pretty simple. You know, the breaker of barriers is just closing people off sometimes, but closing people off directly. Not through Facebook and anonymously deleting them at some point. Oh yeah, well, boom. That's fucking nothing. You gotta do it the smart way when you're put in a position where someone's trying to overpower. And the overpowering disgruntles them, and disgruntles all of them. That's when they're so emotionally connected to something, connected to anything, that when you walk away, when you notice that they didn't do anything, they already closed themselves off at that point. They know the answer that you've given them. There's no words that describe it. And that's the end of it. It's like Padme's ruminations in episode 3. All you need is a scene, 1 minute, 17, 20 seconds. There's Anakin in the Jedi Temple waiting, and there's Padme in her apartment waiting. And they look across from each other, her to the Jedi Temple, him to the apartment, him starting to cry, get emotional, and making a decision about what he's going to do. There it is. That's all you need. Quiet destruction. But see, the destruction isn't so key as the connection dying or coming back. Boom. And that was the end of it. So just like Fight Club, as I'm going to say this, strangers with this kind of honesty being go a big rubbery one. You know, how many times can I say it? Because there's a lie in the story too. The biggest lie is the fact that they think they can just fight everybody. See, the good part about fights, which I'll agree with Fight Club, they actually showed this pretty well, was that people can get tired. You can win a fight by losing. You can win a fight by being beat up. Because the other guy gets tired. They get tired of it. There is a point in that. See, that's why I think that people should just have fists. There should be no weapons. Obsoletism. It's a pretty simple idea. You gotta handle things on your own. It's just like a system coming about like this. Or any system like this. If anybody has to do their work individually, there's no money involved because they don't want to do the work. Not for the money. No. It's too much work. You know, because you don't have any machines to do it for you. You have to do it yourself, my buddy. You have to fight for yourself. You have to use your fists. At some point you can get tired. Just like anything else. If you have to go whale hunting. I mean, just for example. If you have to do it by yourself with just some kind of thing that you just made up, some kind of weapon you did, you don't want to do it that easily. You don't want to just say, well, I'll accept money for it. You'll accept money, yeah. You'll accept a hefty amount, though. You won't just do it for easy money, especially if you have to put in that hard work to it. At some point, there's a historical lesson in the fact that money doesn't really solve it because there's a lot of work involved. Especially if there's no machines involved and nobody making the product itself. That's why this works. That's why capitalism itself so-called works. Because there are people making it easier for this kind of work. I personally believe that it would be a lot easier if we just had to fight. Because physically, anybody could win. Physically, there is a chance of anybody winning, but there's also a chance of somebody getting beat up. Yeah, definitely. The people that obviously are weaker and just taunting, yeah, of course. They're going to lose like crazy. But that's the point. Even somebody who is weak enough to, just taunt somebody, but, strong enough to fight them, they could lose too. And they could lose even greater by just being so hard on somebody that boom, 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 the fight is just going to kill them. Because they won't be able to keep on, beating them up. At some point, they're going to have to get tired and say, damn, I can't do anything else to this man, and he's still there. At some point, they realize, shit, I can't do anything anymore. They lose their whole capacity at that point. I mean, if you're carrying a gun, how easy is it for you to feel victorious? Please, you're going to win like that. You're going to be like, oh, well, there you go. I shot somebody from 100 meters. How great am I? I can't even go up to them and look at the blood. But that goes back to Fight Club yet again. The proof positive that you don't fight authority. And if you fight authority, you have to fight authority with the same lessons involved. But the problem is that there's the big contradiction of don't be emotionally open. Be fake. Be a product. Pretty much fight the products by being the product. That's a joke. That's a real joke. I gotta say that. Hardiness is not bodiness. And pretty much, it's funny that he always put down those people in those Calvin Klein ads, when basically he's saying you gotta be a product. There's a contradiction there, a big contradiction. You don't be emotionally open? Let's see. All those products are never emotionally open, whether they're with the ads or anything else, by the product standing alone. They are not emotionally open. So the one difference that we have as humans compared to products is that we're emotionally open. And if we're insecure, we're just as bad as products. In fact, we're worse than products. At least products can sit there and not be insecure about their emotional openness. Instead, they don't have to be fake for what they are. They just sit there. They just sit there. That's all they are, products. Guess what? By becoming a product, you become exactly what you're fighting. And you're going to be the death of it. That's all it is. It's a joke. That's why after hearing strangers with this kind of honesty make me go a big rubbery one, okay, be fake all you want. But you're going to find the answer soon that that's not the answer. But hey, concentrate, keep on saying that everybody's going to start a fight club, because that's not going to happen. People have guns. People have weapons. People have technology. You think they're going to just start a fight club? It's a nice ideal. I think so too, because I think fists are something that can be a tool, but also torture for yourself and for the other person. Because at some point you get tired. You don't get so tired when you're just carrying a gun, or, well, technically you can, but I'm just saying there is a difference. And the difference is you have to use your physical means up close, and you have to be able to see it and go through it. You don't go through it as much when you're 10,000 meters above. So have a good life, everybody. Remember, strangers with this kind of honesty made me go a big rubbery one. So if you want to fight products and fight consumption, become a product. Because that's the only answer, obviously, through Fight Club's perspective. Don't actually be an individual being emotionally open and being secure with that emotional openness. Instead, don't be emotionally open. Because if you are, you have to be insecure to fight anything. That's pretty much what Fight Club is saying. Pretty much Fight Club is saying you have to be insecure to fight anything. Technically, there's truth to that. But forcing yourself to not be emotionally open to do so, you should be insecure by the laws and restrictions put on you, not by your emotional openness. You should be vehement about that. You shouldn't be upset because you're emotionally open. You should be upset that somebody else is taking advantage of that and fight against that. Such as Tyler. Right there, proof. By saying strangers with this kind of honesty made me go a big rubbery one, he's basically fighting against somebody who's emotionally open. There you go. So take care, guys. Have your lives, but shred everything. Don't shred your emotional openness. Shred everything else. Watch out for martyrdom. Obviously, it's a bad word if you're going to frown.